Hi everyone, I'm Kyle. Today I'll be showing you how to use and calibrate a pH probe and meter. In your class you will need a pH meter and probe commonly for titrations, so I have the equipment needed for one. The model of pH meter used in our labs is the Acumet AP110 pH meter. The probe you will use is a silver chloride, potassium chloride electrode. The probe uses glass that allows hydrogen ions to permeate the membrane. We measure the potential difference in the solution outside the glass compared to the electrode solution inside the probe to measure the pH. The probes are fragile and each one can cost up to $300 to replace. We want to be sure to handle the probes and the meters with care. When you first get your pH meter and probe, they should be attached to one another. The probe should have a bottle on the end of it. This bottle should be filled with the same solution that is found inside the probe. This is because the probe has to be stored wet at all times. If the probe dries out, it will go bad. After you have acquired your meter and probe, it is time to calibrate the meter and probe. For this, you need to obtain 2 clean, dry 100 ml beakers. You want to label your beakers, one with pH 4 buffer, the other with pH 7 buffer. The pH 4 buffer is normally a pink solution, while the pH 7 buffer is a yellow solution. You want to rinse out each of your beakers with about 10 ml of its corresponding buffer. The rinse can be washed out in the sink with cold running water. Once you have rinsed your beakers with their corresponding buffer solutions, fill each beaker with about 40 ml of its corresponding solution. After you have obtained your buffer solutions, you may go back to looking at your probe. First, unscrew the cap from the solution the probe is sitting in. Remove the probe from the bottle, leaving the cap on the bottle for future use. Once you have removed the bottle from the probe, look for a plastic ring on the upper portion of the probe and rotate this ring clockwise to the open position. This is to allow the probe to exchange electrons with the air to accommodate for taking measurements with the probe. From there, wash the end of your probe with a little DI water. Blot the end of the probe dry and store it in your pH 4 buffer solution. While the probe is sitting in the solution, hit the standardized button on your meter, abbreviated STD/enter on your meter. On the screen, you should now see STD appear on your screen. From here, allow the pH value to reach a constant reading. A little variation over 30 seconds, you should also see stable appear on your screen. Once the stable indicator appears on your screen, press the STD enter button again. After removing your probe from the pH 4 buffer solution, rinse it with a little DI water, then blot dry. Place the probe into the pH 7 buffer solution. Repeat the steps taken to standardize the pH 4 buffer solution. After you repeat these steps, the meter should display EFF% before returning to the measure mode. If the EFF% value is between 70 to 120%, then the calibration was successful. If a slope error message displays after calibration, talk to your TA. After calibrating your pH meter, you are ready to take measurements. I have taken the liberty of setting up a titration station where the burette is held onto the stand with a burette clamp over a beaker with a stir bar. All of this rests on a stir. The probe is held in the beaker with another burette clamp to keep everything stable. Keep in mind the stirs are powerful, and when turning on the stir you could potentially damage the probe if you either have the stir up too high to where the solution in your beaker is vortexing, or if your probe is close enough to be hit by the stir bar in the beaker with any speed. Keep in mind that when you transfer your probe to other solutions, you should always rinse the end of your probe with DI water and blot it dry with a Kim wipe before placing the probe into another solution to avoid contaminating or diluting the solution. When you finish using your meter, you will turn off the meter by holding the on/off button until the meter displays off and promptly powers down. Be sure to put the probe back into its original storage bottle by putting the probe through the bottle cap, then tighten the cap back onto the bottle, after also making sure to check that the ring on the upper portion of the probe is turned counterclockwise to the closed position before returning your meter.